One of the great and sad realities of any war is captivity, and here we fundamentally disagree with the opinion when prisoners are spoken of contemptuously. The prisoners were, are and will always be. Captivity is not a sign of cowardice at all. Both Charles de Gaulle and Winston Churchill were captured, both of whom surrendered, and they were not cowards in any way. You can get captured without participating in hostilities. Just in ordinary life you can become a hostage of cruel terrorists. Therefore, today we will talk about how to survive in captivity. Hello, Newsoldier in touch! Despite the centuries-old history of captivity as such, it is not easy to give universal instructions on how to behave in such a situation. You understand, it is necessary to take into account a lot of factors, and the most basic of them, as well as the most unpredictable, is human. However, we have tried to do everything possible so that in this case you have the necessary stock of knowledge. So let's start with the fact that captivity significantly changes a person. Being free, no one can say for sure how captivity will transform him. There is a known case when in the fall of 1999 an initiative group of one organization managed to free Russian children from a certain boarding school. More precisely, a brothel on the territory of a neighboring state. About 90 boys and girls aged 7 to 13 were kept there, taken from their parents under various pretexts. It was shocking that it was only 7 kilometers to the border, and even the doors were not locked in the building. But no one even tried to run away. Moreover, the children were afraid to go out, even when they were told that they were free. Later it turned out that shortly before that, in front of the rest, the guards beat to death a 12-year-old girl who was trying to escape. She was dying in the corridor for almost 2 days. The rest were led past her several times a day. After that, the children were securely bound by fear. Adults are even more afraid than children. They have a lot of life experience of encounters with danger and less propensity to take risks. Statistics show that 50% of prisoners seek only to save their lives, and 25% generally go to cooperate with the enemy, and only a quarter in captivity retains the will to resist. So, how to behave in captivity? What do you think? Leave your comments below the video. Most of all, the prisoner is oppressed by thoughts about his future. They can really drive you crazy. The realization of the fact that you are completely dependent on someone else's will that is hostile to you breaks more than physical torment. So, in any case, do not let yourself fall. No matter how hard, scary, painful, do not give in to despondency. Force yourself to fill every minute of captivity with something to do. Leave no time for worries. Through power, through all the doubt, force yourself to think. Read poetry, keep yourself clean. Follow the rules of behavior at meals, even if your breakfast is a piece of beetroot and instead of a table the floor. Don't let yourself succumb. Stop thinking about the future and believing in it. Examples: the wives of British and Dutch officers captured by the Japanese in 1941 organized a choir in Sumatra camp, which operated until the end of captivity, despite the prohibitions. The Apostle Peter wrote his best works in a Roman prison. Field Marshal Paulus in USSR captivity shaved twice a day. All these people survived, and this is only a tiny part of the known examples. In fact, at all times, thousands of people behaved in this way, and not only survived in captivity, but also retained the honor of a warrior, the dignity of a person, and loyalty to the motherland. Try your best to keep faith in the fatherland, in your comrades, in the victory of the cause for which you volunteered to fight. The enemy will try to persuade you to cooperate and find out military secrets from you. It will start at the preliminary interrogations. Try to create the impression that you are a pawn and do not know anything important. Do not provoke the enemy to harsh measures with ridicule and ostentatious bravado. This is good only in movies and books. Behave calmly and politely. Directly answer only questions about age and rank. For the rest, I don't know, I did not have access, they did not tell me this because of my rank. Do not lie trying to slip misinformation on the enemy. An experienced officer, even from false information, is capable of drawing dangerous conclusions. Do not slander living comrades, trying to shift responsibility to them. This tactic is very common among poorly motivated teenagers, hooligans and petty criminals during police interrogations. But it is vicious. Your comrades can also be in hands of the enemy, and you will be caught in contradictions. You can try to blame everything on those who are known for sure they are dead. He was the commander, he knew everything, he ordered, he had a connection, and so on. Never believe the statements that they say all yours have already split, you alone are stubborn. Answer only for yourself. Remember, enemies surround you. Military investigators like the police use the most vile but very effective game of good and bad. Suppose you are taken for 3 or 4 days at night for interrogations. They do not feed you. The investigator shouts, beats, threatens with a gun. And then suddenly everything changes. A new officer is interrogating you, sympathizes, offers food. He speaks quietly and peacefully, regrets that you are in the ranks of bandits, orders to provide medical assistance. Exhausted during interrogations, you willy-nilly reach out to this man, who is among the enemies. You will be tempted to just chat with him, to answer innocuous questions, to sign the papers being held out, to say a few words to the camera. And you are caught. This is also an enemy, cunning and dangerous. The goals of the people around you in a strange form are the same, just the methods are different. No collaboration, no relaxation, no matter how your exhausted body and brain beg you. Either you are a fighter or you are a traitor. And it does not matter how you were persuaded to become one, by beatings or affection. Any word spoken by the enemy is a lie. Any extra word you say to the enemy is a betrayal of your comrades and the motherland. It is possible that in the end the enemy will torture you if you cannot convince him that you do not know anything. We must disappoint you. Almost no one of our contemporaries can withstand truly skillful processing. In its course, a person turns into a creature that lives by one instinct – to avoid pain and torment. For the sake of this, he is ready for anything, and here it is already useless to even accuse him of betrayal. You can only regret. Moreover, torture is not only physical but also moral. In the cell, the light will no longer be turned off, or vice versa. Prisoners will be placed in a completely dark room, or they will give a constant monotonous sound to the camera. Training yourself for pain, holding your hand over a candle and all that are useless. You can withdraw your hand from the candle at any time you will. During an interrogation, things are different. You are warned in a boring voice that they will burn between your legs with a lighter until you speak or die of pain. And you know that this is the truth. If you really firmly believe in some kind of God, pray to help you endure. Remember your friends, think how many of them will die if you don't endure. What will happen to you later if you stay alive? Sometimes it helps. Loud yelling helps. Shout without embarrassment as loudly as possible. The pain will become weaker. If you are good at auto-training techniques, you can try to jump out of the pain, get away from it. Finally, you can try to get the executioners to kill you. If the pain becomes completely unbearable and you have firmly decided not to say anything, run into death, insult enemies, vilify with the last words. But once again, sadly, you are unlikely to be able to remain silent if you are taken seriously. If you manage to avoid torture and you are sent to the camp, try to escape. This is the first duty of a prisoner. It is easiest to run at night from matches and transfers before you have been counted and numbered. You need clearly imagine where you are running and what you will do after escaping. You should have a plan. Do not invent complex plans that require a lot of time and getting of a large number of things that you do not have. You need to run alone or with comrades in reliability of which you are absolutely sure. You must run in the first few hours after the escape at the maximum distance. If possible, stock up on food and things before escaping. Everything can come in handy. Do not stop moving until you are sure that there is no chase for you. Captivity is an ordeal. The best way to endure it is to never get captured. Just like being held hostage. Let's now consider such a scenario. So, something happened that you did not expect at all. You became a hostage of terrorists. As in any other critical situation, it is necessary to maintain composure, do not panic, do not throw tantrums, do not show aggression, and do not argue with bandits. At the same time, do not humiliate yourself and do not beg for mercy. Do not create a situation of predator-prey. it will not be resolved in your favor. When interacting with terrorists, do not look away, but at the same time avoid direct eye contact. Try if possible to mitigate hostility towards yourself. If you manage to make contact with some of the bandits, this is wonderful. Perhaps this will help mitigate physical suffering and improve the conditions of your imprisonment. If you are in captivity for a long time, and most likely it is, it happens that hostages are held by terrorists for months. Do not lose hope. Do not lose heart. Succumbing to despondency, you will lose. Do daily physical exercises, use relaxation techniques, try to distract yourself, read, write, train your memory. Do not lose track of time, for sure your watch will be taken away from you. Keep a calendar, mark the change of day and night. Do not show heroism. Your task is to save your life and health. Do not try to send messages in the form of notes. Most likely they will not reach the addressee and it will only get worse for you. You should not try to run either. The chance of the successful outcome of such an event is 1 in 1,000. During the assault, try to hide, not to become a target for bullets. Do not pick up weapons as you may be considered a bandit. If a bomb has been placed on you, let the liberators know about it by voice or sign. The most difficult test in captivity is when they try to humiliate you, turn you into a soulless thing, using both physical deprivation and brainwashing for this. The main thing is to maintain self-control and self-respect. Accept this situation. You are in captivity and your life is in the hands of bandits. Your tantrums and emotional instability will greatly unnerve the invaders. They are unlikely to endure your antics for a long time. Remember, an unstable hostage has every chance of being the first in the line of execution. Do you need it? Patience. Time works for you and for your liberators. Do not succumb to provocations. Most likely they will try to convince you that your relatives and authorities have forgotten about you. Do not panic. Use every opportunity to relax. Stress can lead to nervous exhaustion. Fact: the released hostages have strange reactions, which are called Stockholm Syndrome. The essence of the syndrome is that, having experienced a strong emotional shock, the hostage begins to sympathize with the terrorists. A strong psychological bond is established between the terrorist and the hostage. In addition, there may be insomnia, apathy, loss of appetite, sudden rage, difficulty in communication with loved ones, and guilt over the deaths of other hostages. The more active a person, the higher his position in society, the stronger these negative manifestations. But these reactions are natural and will pass with time. That's all. For the first time, we hope that our plot will never be useful to you. But, just in case, tell your friends about us and this video. Let them watch it too. Take care of yourself and your loved ones. Narrated by Maxim Nikulin for Newsoldier channel.